Welcome. You're listening to The Journey. I'm Corey, and you're listening on Oneness Talk Radio. Welcome. Sending out a loving vibration to all the realms and dimensions, the infinite possibilities. A big bow of namaste. Thank you for joining me. Here we are, middle of October, pulling ourselves through this October experience. I'm finding it challenging and to move through this month of experiences and enough contrast, really, to give the experiencers new levels of mastery or even just a remembrance of that deep peace that's in each of us. What are we being asked, or what is the universe nudging us to work through this month, as this month is so incredibly powerful? And all beings are being challenged on some level or another. So how can we move through these cycles and still continue the rise in consciousness? We just keep going. I think the most universal way is to keep our eyes on the divine at all times, as the Archangel Zadkiel has said. And most of us, have to work hard to make that our reality. But the rewards are grand, gigantic rewards. Really in a world full of these mastery distractions. So we have an ample of opportunities to practice this, because we're always getting these opportunities, and they often come in the form of challenge. And so we're asking ourselves to expand and grow beyond it, master it. So many ways we can put words on it. These lessons to let go of the judgment, and oftentimes we feel like we judge ourselves, so we're not hitting the mark. And to release judgment is one of the 4 steps of Self-Ascension, and is a very big deal. Yes, releasing judgment, that is definitely one of those. I see why it's one of the 4 steps of Self-Ascension, because it's a big deal to release judgment, especially of ourselves. I think it really starts with ourselves, and getting out of that programming of that everything has to be analyzed in a certain way. I think we're just coming from that old survival first chakra of having to analyze everything out of safety, and it's just gone really far, and we can call it back, and releasing judgment is just a huge deal, and a step that I have felt challenged this month, because it's, situations and things are coming up that are bringing out that judgment, that analyzer, that comparison, that inner critic, all those fun things that often feel like we've mastered maybe, or we've done so much work on, and it's like, wow, didn't think I'd see that one again. But in reality, it has this kind of separation consciousness that we've all been born into the density realm that that we've all been born into. It's the norm. It's what is the continuing perpetuation of energy in that 3D model, the perception and the co-created reality that continues this part of the third dimensional school experience. And we learn from a young age to analyze and compare out of fear. And as we know, we've been born into reality of fear that can be all-encompassing until we get the opportunity to break free, or have some kind of big experience, maybe big, maybe small, and something clicks, and we're like, hey, you know what? I see another side to this. What's going on here? And then we look into it more, and having the tools and things we can use that will help expand our energy rather than contract. Because when our energy expands, we get wider angle lens on everything so we can really get a full encompassment of what's happening, rather than just a view of being down below and not having that upper advantage or perception. And and the opportunities are ever present to awaken our authentic one-ship of all that is. And we have an opportunity to call ourselves back from that divine forgetfulness and empower ourselves into that fullness of the soul remembrance, and creating a radiant expansion energy that can ignite and will ignite others. So on that note, I would like to thank you for being on the path of wholeness and healing and remembering. When we lift our energy, we can assist 100,000 souls to remember. Because light begets light begets light. And it's infinite. And I can share that I was shown by the divine in a vision about planetary healing. And I wouldn't say I have a lot of visions. I mean, I have, well, maybe more now that I've opened my energy up more. But I mean, before, maybe 10 years ago, I was, it was, to have a vision was amazing. And I was shown that by staying committed to the journey of authenticity and healing, that the energy of light and luminosity can be encouraged, and feeling the energy of this vision really helped empower me to remember who I am, and that all of us make the difference just by our presence. And so as I was having this vision, they showed me a brilliant white light in our gorgeous green planet. I could see the hills and the trees and the forests and the rocks. And the vision was shown to me in a message by, partly it was words, partly it was visual, or in my consciousness visual. And by staying the course, that the planet-wide healing was possible. And it was a done deal. I kept hearing that. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Stay the course. Keep going. And as I was shown this brilliant light, and as I gazed upon these hills and mountains, it's just this most beautiful green. It's just this representation of the Mother Gaia. I could feel the planet. I could feel the love. I could feel the organism, the consciousness of our beloved Mother Gaia. And as I was gazing upon this and feeling the love, I could see these light orbs expanding out into thousands and maybe, if not millions. It was just lots of them. And there was individual lights, and they had come from this one light. And they were covering over the whole planet. And they were spreading. And they were kind of, you could see that they were working together, but they were moving out so they could light up all these areas with the love and light across the whole planet. I can just see it was just like this spreading. And I kept hearing, like I said, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. It's all possible. Keep going. And watch the light expand over everything. And I could feel the love and compassion and the expansion and the beautiful feminine as it was coming online, and how that was being encouraged, and it was a resurgence of the feminine energy, that love energy that had been carried by our dear queens for millennia and kept alive. And they kept showing me situations, and it was a lot about the feminine. And after the vision, all I could do was bow. I could just bow before everything and everyone. And this vision completely humbled me and really expanded my compassion for all. And yeah, it was an expansion of light. And basically the message was, keep going. It's a done deal. Work hard, keep doing what you're doing, connect with others, and then basically it was all these connecting with all these other lights out in the world, so that others may spark their light and remember their amazingness. And then, as another part of the vision was a little later on, and it was out in the night sky, and I could see the source intelligence expanding from star to star. I could look up the night sky and looking at all the stars, and I could just see that they were bouncing this. It looked like this light emanations that were just passing from one star to the next, to the next, to the next, and this, and just this endless source intelligence energy. And for me, this was a confirmation of all the other insights and visions from the few visions that I had from before. I'll just share those briefly because they're not a long story or anything. And the other vision I had was I was sitting in a car at dusk, and I saw what I thought was car lights coming at me, kind of like that. You're on the railroad tracks and you see the light of the train coming, or you just, all of a sudden there's these beaming headlights coming at you. And at first I just felt panic because I was like, okay, this can't be good. And it was coming from one direction. And then I noticed it was coming from the opposite direction. So I'm moving my head to the other side, back and forth. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little worried here. And after I got free of the fear of these lights coming at me, the next thing I knew, the light is coming from all directions. It was like it was like my mind was trying to understand where this light was coming from. The only thing it could think of was these bright headlights coming at me. And then it's coming from all directions. And the next thing I knew, the light is coming from all directions, and a vision of the truth of divine light that gives all form and shape to these realities and realms that we get to play in and dance in. And that's really that light begets light, begets light, begets light. Light ignites, light ignites, light ignites. And I think it's important to remember how important you are. And even though in every thought, every action heals or not, you are the healer. The divine light, the tipping point. And the more and more that wake up, as more and more the presence of divine energy is reawakened or remembered, and to help bring forward that peace. So thank you for your presence. Thank you for tuning into the journey here, where my intention is really just to share information, experiences, and stories, really for ascension consciousness. To be in union and share these experiences that can lift with the choice of compassion. And I find it so fascinating that density, really living in density and moving through it and touching in and touching out, and how hypnotizing it really is to be able to go to that place where we forget how amazing we are, believing that we are helpless and powerless. And really, we are really the opposite of that. I guess we can be any of that. But the potentiality of that is that it's infinite. There's an endless options once we are awake to those options. And I think that's what's so powerful about waking up. To move from one extreme to the other. Contrast informing the soul and giving more fuel for the gratitude. Because the gratitude is an expansion and a freedom. And it's pure delight. And when I glimpse at the grander vision of light, I can only feel joy and celebration and homecoming to know and feel and experience expansion. back to that pure divine consciousness, that ascension consciousness. So often I am feeling the celebration when I'm in meditation, or I'm in a practice, or I'm connecting with divine, whatever it is. And oftentimes it ends up in gratitude and just overwhelming emotions of joy, knowing what's ahead of us, and that it's endless expansion. So anyways, so I'm becoming a celebrador. How do you say that? A celebrator. So it's a great time to be alive. There's lots happening, and to feel that celebration makes me happy. And I've had a few moments in my life where I'm feeling a deep emotion or a longing for peaceful resolution around a particular situation. Situations where I felt emotions around, oh no, what's happening to this person or this group, or that was so amazing, and what's happening, and just that fear of loss. And I know many years ago when I was watching things fall apart among some of my favorite uncles that I have, and I had really connected with them as an adult, and I just felt strong emotions around these events and these problems that they were having, and they were fighting with each other, and I just saw so much potential for what their lives were about and working together, and they were really falling apart and just taking a break, and as I was going through these heavy emotions and feeling a little depressed around the situation with my family, my uncles that were just really these revolutionary rebels that did things that you weren't supposed to do, and just really just push things to the limit in a good way. And so I was feeling a little down about that, and the next thing I know, Spirit is showing me this diagram, or this kind of like almost like a family tree of sorts, but it was really about light and how light expands and how all the connections come back together over time and after they've run their cycles. And so they showed me this diagram on how these energies work and how reunion comes later, and that it's okay. This reassurance from the divine to where things can go with positive thoughts and visions. And if we can get a glimpse of the overall picture, and in this case I was able to just see, that it was okay. It's like the divine saying, hey, it's okay. They're going to go through their cycles. They're going to come back together later, and there's this reunion coming that is, I could just feel the love and just this oneness. It was what I was feeling was oneness. And it was interesting because I hadn't thought of this in many years, and as I was preparing the show, I just really remembered seeing this, and how this is many years ago when I was like 20 or something. I'm 46, so it's 26 years ago, and I wasn't, I was doing a lot of reading and looking into UFOs and conspiracies and reading some of the spiritual books, but I felt like I was just really starting my journey in a lot of ways, and to have that vision was really, really encouraging and reassuring, and so we have to know we have the power. We just have to remember our way back to our magnificence, and oftentimes it takes a wide-angle lens to help with that. Otherwise, it really feels like it's closing in on us. And so I think that's what's beautiful about being awake, that we are available for others that are in that place that we all know, and where we're feeling we're being closed in by reality, and it's really it's a challenge, and the fears come in, and the depression and all of it. And so even though we may know all this, often we can become overpowered by old fears and doubts that may have had power previously. And I can tell you this month of October has brought up some of these old patterns of beliefs that I had really thought I had said goodbye to. And my life script that I had been healing for the last 10 years. And my life script is the main one. There were some other ones, of course. Is I'm not good enough. And I became aware of this 10 years ago when I first took the Navigating the Inner Matrix course. And if you haven't taken the Navigating the Inner Matrix course, check it out. It's it's a profound program that helps take you through the different sections of life and how to heal and expand through them in a lovely, positive way that leaves you feeling very empowered and very healed. I love the class so much. I took it twice, and then I trained to become a coach because it was just that great. And I just wanted to help others, and I also wanted to keep it fresh. All these amazing ways of healing and so the Navigating the Inner Matrix, if you get a chance, the Violet Ray course, very powerful. So anyways, back to dealing with my old script of not being good enough. And this last week and the weeks before, I noticed situations where I felt the pain of not feeling worthy or good enough, or I literally felt like I was being sucked into a victim vortex. It was situations with friends and family, my best friend, who I've gone in and out of with, being in touch, out of touch, in touch, and I was able to hang out with some of these people I hadn't hung out with in a long time. And we've all been changing and doing our work in different ways and different styles, but everything seems to be coming towards this coming back together. And so I noticed that as we were coming back together, that I was noticing some of these imbalances that I had from previous times that were still there, that really just I think they needed to be touched up a little bit and remind me. I don't know if I needed the reminder. Maybe I did, but they just started coming up in my head, and next thing I know, I just feel like I'm in that old victim consciousness, that old victim triangle, and where these thoughts, these not so positive thoughts are going through my head. And so I realized, like an old friend pulling me into some familiar pain. And I was so strong, like a voice in my head controlling me. So I had to take back my mind, and I know that my mind is my servant, and I can use a mantra to redirect these thoughts. And so that's what I did. I pulled out the old trusty mantra of Self-Ascension. So of course I used the mantra over and over and over, which is truly a lifesaver. And the mantra, I'm sure you know it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because it's so powerful and such a great thing to have readily available and just there, and so I'm always touching back in with it, and there's times where I haven't thought about the mantra in a while, and then all of a sudden I'm in a situation, I'm like, oh yeah, I can redirect this. So remember the mantra of Self-Ascension. If you're feeling that mind, like your mind's being taken over by something else, or it's just not in that positive frame, and so yeah, the I am. And so here's the mantra. If you're not familiar, and go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just go over the mantra of Self-Ascension. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me. And as I was going through this time of many days, I would say it over and over and over, and allow it to just go right over everything. It was like rewriting a software program or something. It was just like, okay, here we go. We can redirect this easily. And I had to do some breathing, a little bit of tone, the Ave Saw breath, and just really taking in a lot of light and breathing out any of the yucky stuff that needed to come out. It's kind of like residual. If you have something in you and it's foreign to the body, or the body's ready to release it, just got to breathe it out, and breathing in that light into the nose and then out the mouth with the Ave Sa breath. I find extremely powerful and effective, especially when dealing with some of these old pains and victimization energies that I had dominated my life as long as I can remember. And so, the Ave Sa breath, it's the Ave on the inhale coming in through the nose, and that is when you say the Ave silently, and then the Sa comes out the mouth. And I always picture it as just light coming in the nose, all this divine light coming in through the nose, and then the Sa is just releasing any toxicity that needs to come out. Letting it go. You can picture it as it leaving. And really just taking back control of my focus. And as I've really trained myself over this last 10 years to really keep my mind in a positive frame that is expansion rather than contraction. And as I've been really working on it, and I feel like I'm getting really good at it, over the last 2 years, some shifts have happened, and it really has made a big difference in my life. And I notice that when I do hit those old energies, those doubts, those fears that come up, when they do come up, they really show up. It's not like they're just running. For me personally, they're not just running in the background. They might for a little while, like at first, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I know this. It's like, okay, wake up from this. And in the past I wouldn't know the difference because I didn't have anything to compare it with. I just knew that that's how my mind worked, and these negative, disempowering thoughts that kept me trapped in that victim energy. I didn't know any different, and so it's nice to have the information and to be able to work with others and share and have some experiences and feel the difference between the fear and the doubt, from the past, that older lower chakra stuff, and then moving back into the mantra and the breath and the expansion. So it's like contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, and then expansion, expansion. So it's just kind of like a slingshot, and then just feeling the difference. I mean, that was what was most powerful for me was to pull back into that energy for a minute, feel it, feel how it didn't like the way it felt. And I think that's what tipped me off, because I was like, ooh, this is kind of yucky, so we have different ways we can work with this, and it's very, I think it's just becoming aware, and that's the hugest thing, is just to become aware of it and train ourselves to move out of these frequencies and lift up. And you can see why, we have what we have, in the experiences that we have, because we get stuck in these patterns that just keep going and going and going, and it's just part of the fun of waking up and going through different stages and having the blessing of having the experience of density, just as an endless expanding love and light soul presence, and then coming into matter and experiencing what it's like to be in matter and feel some of the limits, and banging up against the wall and having bodies and skin and teeth and hair and playing and being sad and being happy and just going through all the things that we do in these human bodies is a blessing and a gift. And it sure is nice when we've been doing the density thing for a long time, and then to move into these expanding high frequency energies of that expanding light. It's really a big contrast, and you can feel it, and it's nice because then you're like, hey, I know that, and I know this. And so, I know what I'm choosing. And so it helps us be clearer on our choices going forward. And so as I was taking back control of my focus, I was realizing, of course, that the mantra and the breath brings me back to my center, which helps me be in focus. And as I was having these experiences of the lower chakras, my lower back started to call to me. Something that I haven't not felt in years was calling me out. I felt like there needed to be more shift in my life if I wanted to continue anchoring peace in my authenticity, and I had to be clear on my action steps. The last 2 months had brought about awareness around what I really wanted, and it was challenging to figure out what was needed to bring in the balance and anchor my beingness in a more profound way. And I had been laying the groundwork for a new expansion. I was being told I had to make a decision. I've made the decision, but now I need to choose the path that brings the most joy. So, the body's talking to me, helping guide me and letting me know that there's an imbalance. And so, bringing focus and consciousness to that is what I've been doing. And I wanted to talk a little bit about a practice for the parts of the body that are informing us of where we need to work on it, and then giving it some relief so we can continue to function. It's kind of like a healing hands practice. So if you're ready for a practice, I just wanted to share this one, which is really great for placing on the body areas that are needing extra love and attention. This is a good way to ignite it. And so would start by taking a nice deep breath. And begin by placing both hands on the heart and connect with that heart space. Breathe. And as we connect and we breathe, we activate this area of the heart, this fuel for ascension. And as you have both hands on your heart, go ahead and leave the left hand on the heart. And go ahead and take the right hand off the heart and place it on the body part that's hurt or the chakra that needs balancing. For me, it's the lower chakra, the first and second chakra. And so I'm taking my right hand and I'm putting it on my first chakra. Now, imagine the hurt, the swelling, debris, pain, etc., just being washed away, sending the love from the heart down into that area that you have your right hand on. So we started by placing both hands on the heart. We took a breath, we connected, we activated the heart with both hands, leaving the left hand remaining on the heart. And then the right hand is placed on the needed chakra or the hurt area of the body. And we start sending love to that area from the heart all the way up through the shoulders and down the other arm and down into that place where we can imagine the hurt, the swelling, the pain, just being washed away. And sending this love and light. And imagine all the places that once held the imbalance returning to perfect harmony. Then feel them, see them being filled with pure divine light. Bringing that loving attention right into that place that needs that extra love and attention. And you can do this anywhere on the body. You want to choose another area, and you can do as much as you want. I know I could really use it more often. Just really being in touch with the body. I talked about it at last show. Self-care right now is a big topic for me. Just because of all the energies and experiences that we're moving through. The body's is gonna react to some of that. So left hand, both hands on heart ignites this practice, these healing hands. And then you breathe and connect with your heart space, activating the heart. And then you take your right hand and put it in the area that needs that attention, that area or chakra, or the hurt area of the body. And then you just send love. Imagine the hurt, the swelling, the pain, etc. being washed away. And then sending that love and light from the heart down into the area that's needing the extra attention, needing the extra love and light. And imagine all those places that once held that imbalanced energy, and just feeling that perfect harmony in that area. And just see the area that's needing the love being filled with that pure, pure divine light. So, excellent. Yep, so I'm going to talk about a few different things here. This was the healing hands practice. Always a great one to bring that extra attention into the area. And the other one I want to talk about is called the life scripts. It's a safe practice, and this does come from the navigating the inner matrix. It's really a technique to help you when you feel triggered. And for me, it was not feeling good enough, coming back into this old energy that I thought I had done enough work on, that was still needing some extra attention and focus. And so this is another practice that can help with bringing that energy to completion. And so maybe for the time being, as we know, these things come back up and get revisited, and we get to work on them again. So it's just having these things in front of us to help us is really great. I'm grateful for Archangel Zadkiel and the Archangels and the Masters and Shri and Kira and any other teachers and masters that I didn't mention. So, excuse me. The safe practice. So if you're dealing with something and it just keeps coming up, and maybe you've been doing the mantra and you're doing your breath, and this safe practice can be a nice way to really bring in some extra healing and redirection. And it's called the safe practice. And you can write down from top to the bottom of the page, S-A-F-E, safe, with the S being at the top and then the E being at the bottom on the left-hand side of your page. And so let's say you're dealing with something. You're working with it, you're really having a hard time letting it go, and it just keeps bugging you. What you can do is, when you're engaging it, stop engaging the drama by bringing your hand to the heart. Hand to heart interrupts the process and begins the soul connection. So basically, when we're working with whatever it is, many things, we stop. And the S stands for stop. Stop engaging the drama by bringing your hand to your heart. And as we bring attention to the heart, it really connects us with the soul energy. All right? And it starts with stop. And then the next one in safe is acknowledge. And that's where you wrote the A. Acknowledging that you are swimming in the ego's river. Let go of any righteous thinking or strategies and simply acknowledge that you were triggered. It's okay. It happens. Acknowledge that you were swimming in that ego's river. And just simply acknowledge that you were triggered. It's okay. This is part of being here. We can work with it, no problem. And so we acknowledge it. So we stopped. We acknowledged it. And then under the A is the F. Feel the emotions. Feel the emotions. Let yourself feel them rather than tucking them away. Feel it. Let yourself connect to the fear, the hurt, the anger that underpins that experience. You don't have to swim in the feelings. Just connect with them enough to know that they are present. This is your inner child's experience at the moment, and consciously connecting with the feelings is an act really of responsibility. So feeling the emotion. So we've stopped, we've acknowledged, we're feeling it. We're not drowning in it, we're just feeling it. And then the E as the last part of this safe practice. Expand beyond the emotional experience. So you're expanding, widening your paradigm to the soul level. As you connect with your soul energy, you will realize that you are whole and divine. Your soul is unconditional loving. The soul is your authenticity. Connect with your soul, the soul energy, and have mercy on yourself. So yeah, the safe practice, having mercy for having had an uncontrollable human experience. And the path of self-ascension is a path of widening the conscious expression of your soul's energy into your experience. And so there we are. And another a quick thing that comes from the navigating the inner matrix also is just putting sticky notes up around your place. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe is a great one. And it's a good reminder of the safe practice, because when we have the safe practice and we are working with something that's challenging, we can stop it. We can stop engaging in that drama. We can acknowledge that it's real, it's present, it's real for us in that moment. And we can feel the emotions. We can touch in and feel it, connect with what it is that we're working with. And then expanding beyond the emotional experience, widening your paradigm to the soul level. So you are safe. I am safe. And you can choose the safe practice, and it will help bring you back into that balance. And know that there's nothing wrong with having these experiences. This is part of being here. This is part of our practice. And as you practice this technique, you will find that you can return to the soul conscious ever more rapidly, because practice helps us re-engage the balance quicker. Okay, so there's the safe practice. This one I feel like is one of the most profound practices, and it really helps take us out and heal what's happening and redirect. And it's nice because we're not trying to get away from it. We're just really seeing it for what it is and feeling it, and then just expanding. It's a mastery practice, I think. So the life scripts safe practice, and this is a little something from the navigating the inner matrix, that one of the goodies. And so here we are. We're talking about moving through different energies. As I was saying, that I was been challenged by my own life script and moving through it and using different techniques. And I just thought I would talk about a few thoughts on healing and just different ways and different experiences. Like with the physical body, this is the level of healing requires, that we release and cleanse the stagnant energy layered in our cells. Through that cellular renewal, the organs and systems can return to their own perfect balance. And this is a good thing to remember we're talking about the physical body, drinking lots of water, maybe doing a cleanse, eat really well, and at that physical level. It releases that static energy that can be layered in the cells and water, and lots of good energy practices and things like that can help the physical body experience that cleanse that it really needs to get some of that density out. And we were just talking a little bit about the emotional dramas and talking about the life scripts and the safe practices. These are very much on the emotional level. And the emotional level of healing begins by building self-worth. It's about healing old hurts that would inhibit our sense of a personal value. And through through increased self-trust and recognition of our spiritual nature. Yeah, the emotional level. This really connects with the inner child. I know I've been doing a lot of work on that lately, just healing that child that was hurt and wounded, and just saying, hey, when maybe you feel unsafe, when it's not feeling safe, when the inner child gets scared and goes into that fear place, and you can use the I am safe, and then just take the child and give the child a beautiful hug and say, hey, everything's okay, we got this now. We're okay now. We have the tools and what we need to move forward. Everything's fine. All is well. And that emotional level is really important. It's really important to just really say hello to the inner child, the one that had felt some of this most of the burden of most of the pain of growing up, and so yeah. And that's really building that self-worth and healing those old hurts that would inhibit our sense of that personal value. And of course, there's the mental level. We were talking a little bit about that earlier, about the mental, and it's closely tied to the emotional. And through the mental, it's important to release outdated ideas and outdated belief systems. Beliefs are like software. If your belief system limits your joy, service, and ability to connect with spirit, then it's time for an upgrade. And it's important we must also allow our mental body to align with the new understanding about our quantum nature and the role of spiritual energy in healing. I think the mental body needs, a little reassurance, saying, hey, this is what's going on. We're going to work with it. There's layers of things in there, and we got the good stuff. We're going to connect with that spiritual, that endless connection. And talking about the spiritual level of healing, we seek to have direct experience of the divine. That is the spiritual level. We embrace the guidance from helpers, angels, and teachers in order to experience greater joy and meaning in life. As we fully connect with the flow of divine love, serving others and becoming a positive influence in the world becomes a natural expression of your beingness. The spiritual level, yes. Talking about the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels of healing. As we finish up a few practices here, just wanted to talk a little bit about healing and just some inspirational thoughts. It's great to have, I think, right now when we're working with a lot of energy. We're working with a lot of things that are coming up. So to have a few things there is really nice. And it's important that no one can heal for us. Through our illness and pain, we find a greater, deeper connection with the Creator, and deeper union with the body. And it's important to have a community like one of Self-Ascension, and those people that are around us. Because healing is a synergistic response. We heal best when we feel supported. And healing originates by our belief that we have something to live for, that a meaningful future and safety exists in our relationships. And healing means learning to listen, to relax the body, the brain, in order to consider new ideas and to learn from past hurts and fears. Healing is a process of genuine self-discovery. Yeah, just some uplifting thoughts to remind us how amazing we are when we expand our energy. And sometimes it just takes a few little tidbits here and a tidbit there to remind us how beautiful we are and how fast we can heal. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'd like to do one little meditation. And it's a little bit of a meditation visualization to help clear away anything that's hanging around. And it's called the Hands of God. And we're going to go ahead, if you're ready there, to take a moment with me here. And we're just going to connect with the energy of the divine, or God, or Creator, whatever we want to call it. So, as you're ready, taking a deep breath, close your eyes if it's safe for you to do that. Taking a deep breath. Now I'm just going to take you on just a small little journey. You find yourself floating on a cloud. You're up in the sky, floating on a lovely, puffy, pillowy cloud. There's beautiful clouds all around. There you are, floating, comfortable. It's cottony, it's soft, it's relaxing. And there's all these beautiful clouds that you see around you. Now imagine a light above your head. Right above that crown chakra, this beautiful light. Seeing that light above your head, feel that 7th chakra tingle, that tickling just above your head, right at the very top of your head, like somebody's just barely gliding, almost tickling that crown chakra. Feel that 7th chakra tingle. And as you're in these beautiful clouds and the blue sky, and the shaft of divine light, this light we're talking about here among the clouds and the blue sky. Feel that. And as you're experiencing these beautiful clouds and that gorgeous blue sky and that shaft of that divine light's coming through, kind of peeking through those beautiful clouds, and you're noticing these huge white gloved hands appear with golden Om symbols on the palms. Huge white gloves. And these gloved hands appear before you with the golden Om symbols on the palms. My child, you have suffered enough. Give me your pain. Give me your worries. I will take them from you. They are mine to heal. Place all your pain in my hands. I love you. Suffer no more. I forgive you, and all debts are now paid. You have suffered enough. Give me your pain, give me your worries. I will recycle them. And they are mine to heal. Place all your pain in my hands. I love you. Suffer no more. I forgive you. And all debts are now paid. And as you feel yourself letting go of whatever that is that you'd like to let go into those hands of God, these beautiful golden Om symbols, absorbing any energies or pain or anything that's ready to be recycled back to God, back to the divine. And as you're done releasing all this energy, still floating on the clouds, and coming back down out of the clouds, and feeling just the relief of releasing energy, things that were no longer serving. They were due to be recycled. Good for you. Good to let them go. All right. There we have it. I feel better. Very nice. Oh, thanks for doing those practices with me. We got a few here to work with. We did the safe practice. We also did those healing hands where the heart gets ignited and is able to bring that light into those areas in the body that need it. And finishing up with the hands of God and just letting it all go. All right, well, that's going to conclude the show today. Thanks for joining me. This is The Journey. I'm Corey. You're listening on Oneness Talk Radio. Have an amazing week. We're over halfway through October, and we're doing the work, and we're shining our light, and I'm grateful for you. Be well. Namaste.
Oneness Talk Radio. Hip, fresh, fun. Tune in to an honest portal of positivity 24/7. Experience unique talk radio from all around the planet, perfectly mixed with music that enchants your soul. Discover oneness moments as you relax into 3 to 5 minutes of divine inspiration. Claim your oneness today. OnenessTalkRadio.com. One world, one voice. Expand your vision.